Alright, and welcome back to the channel, everybody, and I hope you're doing fine. One question that I get a lot during my live streams, but also in the comment section over at YouTube: should I play duos or trios while I'm a solo in Hunt Showdown? And this is exactly what I try to answer today. It's gonna be a shorter video. First, we're gonna talk about duos, then about trios, and then at the end, I'm gonna give you my personal opinion about why I decide to play duos or why I decide to play trios. Alright. Let's get this started. Okay, duo queue. Let's talk a little bit about facts first. Might sound super basic, but there's still a few people out there who might not know this. There are up to 12 players on a map in Hunt Showdown. And it doesn't matter if it's duos or trios or quick play. There's also people still out there that think if you go into trios, you always have 4 teams. When you go into duos, you always have 6 teams. And if a solo queue's in, that means that one team is just like a single dude. This is not correct. So you can have, in a theoretical super extreme case, 12 solos on a map. Never saw that happen. That's actually not true. On test server with the solo changes, we actually had it once. But hey, on average, in duos, you have obviously more teams. Also, the enemies have a slightly lower MMR than you do. Always keep in mind when you play as a solo, there are active modifiers pushing down your matchmaking MMR. It's only a tiny bit when you go up against, other duos while you queue solo. If you go up against trios, it gets nerfed even more. That kind of tries to balance out that you go up against 3 and not against 2. Now, there are more modifiers, for example, when you play with a random teammate, but we're talking about solos today. The main challenge that you will face while playing in duos is, and that is now my personal experience, third-party time. You're fighting a team, you cannot finish them off quickly, you're making a lot of noise, they are making a lot of noise, it attracts people who are bloodthirsty, obviously, and they will attack your ongoing fight. Now, this most likely breaks your neck because most of the time you only realize another team is coming because they're already shooting at you. You take cover from a team, you hold still because you heal, you get shot in the back, third party, game is over. Maybe you have self-revive with resilience, then you can have a chance at coming back. But third party is one of the main reasons why I die in duos. Then, the average combat, I would say, is easier than in trios. Why is that? If you developed a certain set of skills, you should be able to move quietly across the map, and you should also be able to ambush people. And if you're good at the game, the ambush will kill one of these people. That also means afterwards, once the jig is up, it's a 1v1 and not a 1v2. And on top of that, should you mess up your ambush, it's still only a 1v2 situation and not a 1v3 situation. Now, there's a little bit more to that though, because sometimes it's not really a 1v3 or 1v2. It can be like a 1v1, 1v1, 1v1. If you play against a trio and they come at you one at a time, then of course you will feel that these people on average are a little bit below your skill set. But okay. Also, the solo bonus for duo queue sits at 300 bucks. Always keep in mind, this stuff gets changed every now and then. It was less just a couple weeks ago. Now it's more. Maybe it's gonna be less again. But this is not the main point about this video. So here are, in my opinion, the facts, the struggles from the duo queue. Now let's have a look at the trio queue. Now, trios. So again, you have up to 12 players. I'm not gonna discuss this again. We just had it a couple seconds ago. So yeah, you know the deal by now. There are less teams than duos. Always keep in mind, when you read these statements, always put in on average before that sentence, okay? Because I know already the comment section, well, but if only... Don't. Alright, less teams than duos. And that matters, depending on your struggles when you play Hunt Showdown. Also, the enemy's MMR is lower on average, right? So you can of course have a wild mix of 6 stars and 2 stars, and a veteran playing with 2 new friends and stuff like that. Also, less third-party time, obviously. Less teams means, well, less chances somebody shoots you in the back while you're trying to use your medkit without physician. Also, the straight-up combat, in my opinion, on average, is harder. Now, there are, of course, a few exceptions when you have, like... Sometimes you have trios and they all push you super aggressively, all three of them. Then it's harder than duos. Sometimes you have trios, but also duos, where they come one at a time, and it's not really a 1v3 situation, it's a 1v1, 1v1, 1v1. Alright? But in my experience, at the end of the day, fighting a whole trio, I mean, there's 3 barrels pointed at you, is harder. But nice thing for that, for our troubles, we get $600 as an extra bonus when we play solo. Now, this is a little bit of my personal facts. I know this is a little bit of a weird statement here. Now let's talk about what you should queue. Yeah, you're gonna hate me for that one, because there is no clear answer to that question, because that severely depends on your struggles. Now, I'm gonna answer this question now from a mic point of view, so maybe you will find an answer from your point of view. I personally hate getting third-partied, because very often it's the first bullet from a long ammo sniper telling me that I'm getting third-partied. And very often I do not survive this. I prefer fighting trios or a straight-up harder fight compared to this unpredictable third-person thing. Third person? Third party, obviously. Imagine Hunt Showdown third person. Don't. There's another thing why I personally like playing against trios, and it is the fact, or on average, that they're easier to track. Maybe it is because their overall skill level is a little bit lower compared to the people you face in duos, but you also have a bigger unit trying to cross the map, and of course there are then more chances that they trigger crows, ducks, or whatever, right? And it is really helping you out as a solo when you can prepare proper ambushes without getting third-partied. On top of that, and that might sound a little bit weird, you have more movement options. Of course, if you have a trio that is playing exceptionally well and the single dudes spread out and flank you, might not be the case, but very often you fight a front of a trio and they kind of stick together. That means you have a lot of space where you can rotate, and since there are less teams on the map, the chances of bumping into a fresh team is lower. So more movement options, and this is, I would say, almost the strongest weapon as a solo, that you can move fast and you can do that quietly. Now again, this is something for me. I have over 7,000 hours in the game. I don't want to throw any shade, and I'm definitely not the best shot. But rotations, positioning, I think I'm pretty good at that. If you're new to the game, you might struggle with this. You will not get these benefits, you will not be good at movement, naturally because you're lacking the experience, not because you're dumb. And then maybe duos might be better for you. If you're, for example, a good shot at FPS games, you play a lot of other FPS games, then you will have a good time at Hunt Showdown. You might be low on stars for now because you do not know the cracks on the map yet, you don't know where to rotate, but that's fine. Alright? Straight up fights against duos, probably better for you than straight up fights against trios. Because you're not really profiting from the big solo perks like being able to travel quickly or flank quickly. But hey, at the end of the day, I think it's personal preference. So you got now my point of view. Let me know in the comment section what you like to play as a solo. Also, if you're not playing solo, but you're playing against solos, I mean, you kind of have to at one point, do you face them more in duos or trios? Because that's also something that, in my experience, I face more solos when I go into the duo queue. In trios, I rarely see them. There is on average, I would say, one other solo compared to duos, where there's a couple more, and most of the time they're long ammo sniping and slightly annoying. Okay, let me know in the comment section what you think. Are there any other topics you want me to discuss in this weird Hunt Showdown podcast format? Also, let me know in the comment section. And that's it. Let's roll the outro. And that's it for today. Again, only my personal opinion, my point of view. Keep in mind for you, it might be a different answer. Then again, I hope you enjoyed this weird podcast episode. I also want to say thank you to my patrons. I hope you enjoyed these kind of videos too. I might do more because some questions I get them over and over and over and over again, and I'd like to have an answer for that ready. Okay, then, my dear patrons, this Saturday we're gonna have coffee time. Finally able to schedule this again. Don't miss it. I made the announcement on the Patreon page, and I also posted it in the Coffee Time Discord channel. Yeah, there we go. Thank you for watching. More Hunt Showdown discussion / podcast videos might come soon. I see you in the next one. Until then, have a good day and bye bye.